Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another AIMBOT. I can't even remember. 21 for the Resurrection series that has come back to plague the internet. Thank you so much for joining me. It's great to see everybody out there, and we are doing some AIMBOT. If you are here for the first time, welcome. What is AIMBOT? AIMBOT is basically going on to Am I the Arsehole on Reddit and finding out, doing a little judging, what's right, what's wrong, and I will be applying secular humanism and the principles thereof in judging these people to see whether what they're doing is right or wrong. But you can use your own moral system. We can see how we differ. We can see why we differ. We can discuss that. If you are joining me again, thank you so much for coming back, and we will be rocking on. It's been a wild week, and I do apologize. Last week I had a bit of a cold, so I probably could have suffered through. I just didn't feel up to it. I'll be honest with you. I really just went, nah, mate. I feel like crap. So I think it was just a sort of just felt off, taking care of myself day. Didn't want to push myself. I've been trying to push myself lately, and it's been tough. It's been tough. I got to be honest with you. Some of the people that I've run into are terrible. I have been, and just for sort of things have been weird lately. I think with the sort of rise of Trump that I'm seeing, we've seen a lot of masks just fall by the wayside. I don't know if you've noticed this, especially on my usual debate haunt, modern day debate. It's just been fully mask off. Goose stepping on full display all the way down. It's incredible, but I'm not sure whether I'm happy or upset about this. It's wild that it's just out in the open. However, it's good to know who these people are and how dangerous they are, because boy, are they dangerous. But I think that platforming these people, I always have a bit of a toss-up whether it's good or bad. I always do. I think that their ideas are terrible. I dislike it when they go up against somebody that basically, they're not equipped to handle the arguments that they're putting out. It always worries me. I feel like it's maybe best to be avoided if you can't actually hold that conversation. But I wanna really jump into it, and I do have to think whether I'm going there again, to be honest with you. But I'll put some feelers out, see if I can get some of the debates with some of these people, because I think I can do a much better job on the subject. So hopefully we will see that soon. Okay, I'll just get worked up here. It's really good to see you, Jason. Really good to see you, Andrew. You're Victoria. All good to see all of you. Fantastic. I will get up this. So these, if you're joining us for the first time, you will know this if you've been a viewer for a long time, but these aren't curated. They're the first ones that I bring up. They're my initial reactions. I don't go over them. I don't research them. We take them at face value. So yeah, there might be other things involved, and we can speculate. That's always good to do. We can speculate, but really we don't know every side of the story. So we kind of take it as it's read. Hopefully. But, that aside, I would like to have some fun. I would like to sort of drop that for the moment because it's been on my mind, and I really want a catharsis or something. I think, it's weird. I don't get colds a lot. I don't get flus a lot. I think that the stress over the last few months has sort of caused my immune system to sort of just kick its little legs in the air and roll over. It's like, wow, but I think we need to get away from it. And I have had blackouts, basically not watching media, because that is actually good for me, because you can really get to doom scrolling these days. And so sort of having a media blackout, I highly recommend. You can always catch up later, but just sort of, having that break where you go away and you just don't even worry about it is always good. I also, just as a little thing, I've got to do more member streams. If you do have any suggestions for member streams, do throw them in the comments. I'm thinking at the moment I'll just have like a casual member stream, just sit around and chat and talk about movies and things like that. Just have a casual one. I think that It's really something I've neglected, and I really have to start doing it with some kind of consistency. Because I really lack consistency. I think these sessions, it always grieves me to miss them because they are the consistent thing on my channel. But let's get this up. Apart from that, I mean, I love to see you all. I love to chat to you all. I just don't know what to do on sort of, casual stuff. I'm very good at getting a topic and really drilling down on a topic or really focusing on something. Casual, just spur of the moment stuff. I'm not very, what's the word? I guess I'm not very spontaneous with stuff like that. And I do want to try to be more spontaneous, but I'm not very good at it. I'm really not. Board games, that's a good suggestion. Yeah. I think I would probably need something like Board Game Simulator or something like that to do it, Andrew, which I don't have access to. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure I can do that, but sort of online games is fine. Cards Against Humanity, you can find like Cards Against Humanity. Sure. Yeah, no, why not? Let's do it. Why not? I will try to get that started up. But on to the first one up. So this is, I will do a poll at the end. If you're unfamiliar with the session, I will do a poll at the end. Let me know what you think. If you have any disagreements, please put them in the comments and say, hey, this I disagree with. You made this call and I think it's wrong. But I really want to know why you think it's wrong, what you're basing that on. You play at Slims and Ozzes from time to time. I'm not sure what Slims and Ozzes is, Jason. I won't lie. I don't know what that is. Is that some Americanism I'm unfamiliar with? I don't know. But Cards Against Humanity is always great, always fantastic. So Dao Ming Baba has, am I morally bankrupt for finally telling my brother-in-law to leave after he's been mooching office for a year? Well, like initial reaction. So a lot of our morals, we take it on intuition, basically. Essentially, what's intuition? How does that differ from not intuition? Like, so how does it work? Intuition's just our gut feeling. It's just our initial reactions to things, and it's largely based upon emotion. It's very good for making decisions quickly. So we have an intuition about what we read. We read something and then we say, oh, my initial reaction is X. And that's fine. Like, that's fine. But I've found that a lot of the times, number one, our intuitions can be clouded by previous experience. Like, for instance, if you have been attacked on a darkened street and it was a really traumatic event, for instance, our intuitions may lead us wrong. You may see somebody in a darkened street and go, oh, my intuition says they're going to attack me. It can be really wrong because it's based off past experience. The other thing that can sort of cloud it a lot is sort of how it comes across to you, how it's presented to you. It doesn't mean our intuitions are bad. They're something to try and keep us safe, something to have feelings about the sort of initial. They're very, very quick, but they're not as good as that's type 1 thinking. They're not as good as type 2 thinking, which is that rational sit down and, okay, what do I know about that? It's interesting because a lot of our intuitions are sort of, if there has been some kind of trauma, they can be very, very wrong. You see this a lot in, say, people that have been abused, for instance. So even dogs that have been abused, any even slightly could be taken as aggressive act, they'll think that it's an attack. That's what their intuition tells them because that's what they've experienced. So in psychology, there's a lot of therapies basically breaking that connection that automatically goes to, basically someone's attacking me. When people are abused, they often respond to that, somebody being aggressive in some way with violence, because that's what they think is happening, when that might not be the case. So breaking that connection is a good thing, and understanding, is that actually happening or not? Being rational about it is way better. And I could talk for ages about rationality and what it means. But yeah, my initial reaction is, yeah, if someone's been you've been paying for someone for a year, I don't think it's I don't think that you should be supporting them to your detriment. It's hard though. In America, I know that there's very little social programs that really help if somebody is, if somebody is in strife. I do like countries where there is a strong safety net, even if that, especially when that sort of includes some kind of mental health support to be able to get people to a place where they don't have to sort of rely on the support of others and they can support themselves. Some people never learn to support themselves, or they may have something happening where they can't support themselves. I think that everybody at some point has had some level of depression kind of thing. With mental health, we're talking about spectrums. So, everyone's been down. Depression can affect anybody. It's sort of, we want to help build them back up. Oh, hey, Majestic. Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. Of course, Mark. Yeah. Don't forget me. Yeah. Cool. So am I the arsehole for finally telling my brother-in-law to leave after he's been mooching office for a year? Okay. Yeah, I suppose the one instance where I think that would probably be a bit of a bad move is if you basically say get out without any warning for them to prepare. I think that sort of saying, hey, you've got to get your stuff in order and get out is one thing. Just sort of saying you've got to get out now, that's completely another. He moved in saying he needed a few months until he was able to save enough money to rent his own place. It's been a year, but he's never once paid for bills, groceries, nothing. Wow. Okay. No, that's not cool. If you're using power and using people's things, groceries are not cheap. Like, seriously, I was raised to, like, I don't know. I was conditioned through being raised to always go for bargains and find things. Like, I didn't know people don't do this, but I calculate the weight of something and the price to see which is cheaper, kind of thing. Like, I'll look at, there's a 100-gram thing. I don't use imperial. I'm sorry. I use metric. So 100 grams for like $6, but they'll see something that's like, $8. But if it's 200 grams, that's the one I'll get because that's actually better value. I do those calculations almost. That's the way I was raised. Like, always look for specials, cheaper things. Like I that's the way I was raised. Just cut costs wherever you can. I'll look for the cheapest option. I'll look for that kind of stuff. He moved in saying he needed a few months until he was able to save money to rent. Yep, never pays for anything. He doesn't even do basic chores. Yeah, it's bad. But my wife, she's his brother, always tries to cover for him and does his chores for him instead. He leaves dishes in the sink, doesn't take out the trash. He just sits around on his phone when he's home to play mobile games or goes out on his motorcycle to go for long rides with his buddies. Okay, well, he can afford fuel, obviously. Fuel's really expensive over here. Like, it really is. I drive a very fuel-efficient car. I wish I had an electric. I really do. I think that's probably going to be what I'm trying for. But unfortunately, the place that I live doesn't have chargers, and I can't get hold of a charger. But I do want to do that because fuel is ridiculous. I know it's a lot cheaper in the US. You would be shocked at our fuel prices, seriously. Fuel prices in US. So $3.17 was the average per gallon. How much is a gallon? 2 liter. So 1 gallon is 3.78 liters. Okay. Cost of fuel, Australia. What's the average? 189.8 cents per liter. So if we times that by the Hang on, let me get my calculator. This is terrible. I know that most people watching are American, so I do want to get this right. So 189.8 times 3.78541, and then what's the exchange rate? Right, 0.63. Yeah, so it's like 0.63. Yeah, it's like $4.52 per gallon. That's $4.52 per gallon, which is a lot higher than what you guys pay. Like, really, it's yeah. My wife just died. My kids are semi-trapped in Africa in scary health. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Beck. Yeah, that's terrible. I don't know. Is there you know, are they citizens? Can the embassy help that? That seems like a lot, my friend. Wow, that's insane. Well, please do get help if you do need it. I'm so sorry to hear that, Beck. Yeah, no, I can imagine. That's awful. That's awful. Hmm. I'm really sorry to hear that. Is there some way you can contact me? Maybe get me on Discord. I can try to help out. I'm really sorry, Beck. That sucks. I mean, depends what country in Africa, I suppose. I mean, the southern part of South Africa is not too bad. If it's like, you know, Central Africa, it can be rough. It can be really rough. Yeah, so he's been riding his motorbike, so he can afford fuel. Admittedly, motorbikes don't take a lot of fuel, but you know, when we're saving, we've got to give up some stuff. You know, we've got to, hey, say, you know, look, Beck, if you're in trouble, I can try to do a crowdfund or something like that. We can set something up to help out. Please, I want to help as much as I can. You know, I'm you know, not rescue, but support would be awesome. I can certainly try. Oh, hey, human girl, good to see you. Good to see you. So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, obviously you need a mobile. Like, if you are sort of looking for a place and you need work, yeah, you know, mobile games don't necessarily cost anything. I get that, but you know, motorcycle with long rides, yeah, that's annoying. If you're sort of, you know, not not pitching in for the house, but you're still going riding around. Yeah, it's yeah. I'm well. I'm well. Yes, I did have a cold last week. I could have pushed through, but I decided not to because I just decided not to. So I do apologize, but it's kind of a sorry, not sorry. I think I really needed a break, to be honest with you. We've been biting our tongues because he's family, but the last week was the last straw. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, how far do you go with family? And I get that people want to they want to give family every allowance, and it's kind of hard because you'd want to support your family, but at the same time, you can't sacrifice yourself for anybody, unfortunately. If you do so, you won't be in a place to help anybody at all. He came home late, parked his bike, didn't lock the gate. Okay, yeah. As a result of his neglect, our dog of 12 years got out. Ugh. Yeah, that's upsetting. That's upsetting. We searched everywhere and even made Facebook posts, only to find out a few hours later he got hit by a car just outside of our subdivision. We were devastated and I was furious, but guess who was the one acting pissed off? My brother-in-law, saying it wasn't his fault and that shit happens, then it just buy us a new dog. Okay, so I see here that his neglect has caused your dog to get out and you're blaming it for getting hit. But your brother-in-law is kind of right. If an accident's an accident, and I get, like, it's so upsetting and I understand that, but I don't, I don't think you can sort of, if he did it on purpose, I would totally get it. But, people accidentally do stuff, and I get that you're upset, but I think that going off on him is really not the best idea. I don't think he meant it intentionally, from far as I can tell, and I think your brother-in-law sort of saying, well, it wasn't his fault. It kind of is. I mean, he's the one that left the door open. I really feel for this lady though. It's terrible. He hasn't even contributed a single cent to our monthly electric or internet bills. Presumably he uses your internet. Then yeah, I lost it. I told him to pack his stuff and get out. My wife thinks I was too harsh, but honestly, I don't care anymore. He doesn't respect our home, our rules, or our damn dog. Am I the asshole for not considering my wife's feelings first? Wait, oh, your wife? My brother-in-law. Oh, okay. Yeah, got you. Your brother-in-law, the one that is living there. Okay, got you. Yeah, I think his sort of blasé attitude is pretty terrible. If it was me, I would certainly be apologizing and being contrite. He doesn't respect our home or a damn dog, not considering my wife's feeling first. Part of me feels that we should have talked about it first, but then I acted on my own out of anger. Am I the arsehole? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the reason why is because it is one thing to sort of say, hey, this, like, we've asked you to find a place. You haven't. Like, you have a week or 2 weeks to organize your stuff, find another place and go out. Like, putting down a time limit, totally fair. If that's what you did, I would 100% be on your side, right? If that's what you did. But what you have done is basically go, get out and I don't care what happens to you, right? Like, you're out on the street. Now, if you've ever had this happen to you, I have had it happen to me. It is horrifying. It is horrifying, and it is not like being out on the street with no place to go is a situation I would never put somebody in sort of spur of the moment. Like, I understand if you gave him a week to organize something, doesn't matter where it is, organize something, call a refuge, call some place, but sort of saying get out right now is it is absolutely I'm really sorry, but it is a terrible move, because that person may very well die on the street because of what you've done. It is so horrendously nightmarish. I would not wish that on anybody. Look, I get you. He needs to leave. Totally understand. You can basically say, hey, me personally, I would probably give 2 weeks, just because it can be hard to find another place. Finding a refuge or some kind of homeless shelter with an open spot can be difficult. So I would be generous and say 2 weeks. But I get, if it was a week, cool. If it was, if it was 5 days, I'd be like, but okay. It's rough out there. I get that, and sort of, I understand that your wife's brother is, you've had enough. But I think a lot of this is coming from you've lost your dog has died. You think your brother is contributed to that, because when you leave something open or you neglect something, I don't think you're fully responsible for it. Like, anybody could have left the gate open. I get that. He definitely contributed, but sort of kick him out is your reaction at grief. And I understand that they're going through grief, but it's still, to put somebody out on the street instantly is horrible. I've been through that. It is nightmarish. It is one of the worst experiences that one of the worst I've ever had, is basically being onto the street and then you're sitting there going, what do I do now? Like, where do I go? I don't have anywhere to go. Is a horror. It is so horror. So I think that, and that's a good point. Have they set limits already? Do we know if it's a sudden decision? Well, they said he needed a few months and he's been there a year. I get that. But, I don't think they've said, hey, this is the time that you have to leave, kind of thing. And that's important. Your home is very important. I get that. I 100% get that. But the home being very important is the same reason why you don't kick someone out instantly. It's because that disconnection from any kind of safe space is incredibly traumatic. Make it a few days. Like, if you want to be absolutely brutal, say a few days, you've got to move it. But don't just toss someone out on the street. That is traumatic, like massive. Yeah. So I totally get that. But the brother's being an asshole as well. Don't get me wrong. He's not getting off the hook either, because he's sort of, he absolutely contributed to that dog, and sort of wasn't his fault. Shit happens. Is not the, like, when somebody's family member dies, that is not the call, right? You don't say, hey, I would be mortified if I left the gate open and the dog escaped, kind of thing. I would be absolutely mortified. I would be apologizing so much, and buying another dog doesn't that's not the call, my friend. That is not the call. Like, that dog won't replace a beloved family member. It won't. Like, you're basically sort of saying, oh, well, if your child died, you can just make another one. No, that is not the point, sir. So I kind of think that everybody's terrible, but I will do the poll. I think everyone's terrible. Like, tossing somebody out instantly, that sucks. That absolutely sucks. Being like, saying you're going to find something in 6 months and living off somebody for a year and not paying any bills and leaving the gate open, that sucks too. They're terrible as well. Everyone's terrible. I kind of understand where the poster, the person who wrote this post, is coming from, though. They're really upset over the dog being killed. I get that. I really do. I think they're higher up, sort of, I understand them more. But still, I can't, your experience might differ. I cannot throw somebody out on the street instantly. It's just the worst thing ever. I will post this poll, though, because I am a poll dancer. Let's see. Was the poster right for tossing our brother-in-law? And I think ultimatums, they're not great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a huge fan of ultimatums, but sort of giving people time frames so they're aware of stuff is probably good. Oh yeah, I'll show you the poll. I'll show you the biggest poll you've ever seen. All right. Boop. Poll outward bound. There we go. Okay, let's go through what some of the Redditors say. You're always welcome, the majestic one. The majestic one is always welcome, in my opinion. Not the arsehole. So sorry about the dog. His attitude over that alone justifies kicking him out. I'm not sure. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of. I really, yeah. It kind of does, yes. Because if you're not going to show empathy with the people you're living with, what are you even doing there? You know, you're supposed to be family, and you're not treating your brother-in-law like family. It's it's pretty bad. Yes, you weren't too harsh. If anything, you weren't harsh enough. Okay, that's a bit thing. Oh, I missed the first one. I am Irene. Okay, Irene, what you got? Am I the asshole for not considering my wife's feelings first? Why isn't she considering your feelings? Why does her brother seem to have priority in your home? That is not okay. Well, in fairness, it's both of their homes. See, that's the thing. I dislike this whole idea of, well, the home belongs to the man because he's the man. No, you have a shared life. You both own that home. It's both of your home. Hell, even if you're renting, like you're boarding or renting. Yeah, absolutely, Beck. Yeah, send it over by Discord if you want, mate. That's not a problem. That is not a problem at all. I really, if you want to support Beck, do you have my Discord? I think I do have your Discord. I think I do. Well, let me mod you up for a second. Let me mod you up for a second, and then you can just pop it in yourself. There you go, mate. So please do. He didn't get his act together within 3 months, and I guess he never planned to, was forced to. Yeah, so it's both of your home. Like, this is the thing. And that brother-in-law, he is your family. My sister-in-law is my family. You know, I mean, I don't have any sisters, so I don't have any brothers-in-law, but I have a sister-in-law, and she's basically my sister. She is family, you know, like, so this whole thing about your home really rubs me the wrong way, because it's her home too. And if you're allowing your brother-in-law to stay there, it's his home as well. The fact that you've got the final say on who stays there and who moves out doesn't make it not his home. It's your house and your property, but it is his home. And that's why I think that sort of kicking somebody out without any way to make any kind of, you know, any kind of organization is really horrible. It's because you're being kicked out of your home. That being said, if you are disrespecting the house and the property, then it's totally fair to ask him to move. You know, he didn't get his act together within 3 months. It's my guess he never planned to and was forced to. The home not contributing anything to your household is just such gross, entitled behavior. Good on you for finally taking care of business. So sorry about your dog. Yeah, and that sucks. That sucks. But you didn't actually. You didn't actually say whether, you know, give a NTA or anything. Oh no, he did NTA. No, I cannot say it that way. I cannot say it that way. You might have to drop that email in again, Beck. It is or whatever you wanted to link in again, because it doesn't allow non-mods to link. That is a mod power for the mod people. OB88, not the asshole. There you go. Okay, fantastic. So, e-transfer direct. I'm not even sure how that works, Beck. You might have to tell me or something. Not the asshole. He can't take responsibility for shit. He's responsible as the driver for your sweet dog's tragic death. I'm not even sure the driver's that responsible. I mean, dogs sort of run out on the road occasionally. I'm not even sure, like, depending on the circumstances, I don't think it was the driver's fault at all. You know, like, how could be held responsible for a dog running out into the road? I would have thrown him right out there and then with zero remorse. Buy another dog. What the fuck? Disgusting. He does not deserve one bit of your kindness and generosity. Yeah, I get that, but I still can't throw somebody out onto the street. I would absolutely make them leave, you know, after a week or so. Not the arsehole. Why is your wife not more upset about the dog? Or his attitude about letting the dog out? Well, see, the wife may be used to his behavior. Don't forget, she's probably been living with her brother all of her life. So she's probably more, I guess, callous about his behavior than you are, because it's a surprise to you. But to her, it's probably been going on for ages. So I don't know. I don't know. He could have been more contrite, yes, and apologetic, yes, but he couldn't even do that. Yeah, definitely an asshole. Not paying any bills or doing any chores. He can't apologize for inadvertently hurting your dog. Dude has to go. I agree with all of that. I do. I just think he should, be given a chance to find some place else, kind of thing. Not his wife and my brother like that and kept covering for him. We'd been in therapy or divorce. You need to be the priority, not his stupid butt. I mean, it's hard. Do you guys not have siblings? Her husband should come first, especially in your home. She nuts. Wow. Okay. So this is the thing. We don't, or I try not to make comparisons of who's more important than who is in a family. Yeah, drop me a message. Yeah, no problem, Majestic. No problem at all. And if you can help out Majestic Beck, please do so. We all have troubles and struggles, and if you'd like some people to be there for you, if you can, no pressure, but if you can, please do be there for somebody else. I will try to do something to help. But send me a message, Majestic, and I'll keep in touch. But what was I saying? Yeah, we don't so I don't think it's right to sort of go, oh, well, that's my husband. It's more important than my brother or my parents, or, there's a lot of this kind of stuff. Like, I should be more important in a family than these people. Don't forget that, I mean, if you do not have siblings, you might not understand, but these people you have known and been related to all your life, like your husband may be somebody that leaves, as far as relationships go, marriages end, but that person will always be your brother. And that sometimes isn't the case, right? Sometimes you're like, well, he's such an ass, I don't want to see him anymore. And I get that, but sort of taking this, well, I have to make this prioritizing system of one over the other, sometimes it doesn't work like that. Sometimes it's not. I don't think you should have to sort of go, oh, well, my husband is more important than my parents, or my husband is more important than my brother or sister, or things like that. It's just a very bad way to sort of treat people, in my opinion. Is my wife the most important person in my life? Yes, I would absolutely say so. But it doesn't mean I automatically side with her over anything, like literally anything. That isn't the case. You can disagree on stuff. She can prioritize her brother because he's having a hard time, and you can disagree with that, and that's okay. Yeah. What does the chat say? Let's have a look. Has the post set any limits? Yeah, we don't know. It seems sudden. It seems to be linked to the dog getting unalived because he left the gate open, and I can understand that reaction. So don't forget that one of the stages of grief is anger. It absolutely is anger, and working through those stages of grief is a good thing. But I totally understand where they're coming from. I really do. You're kind. I don't know. I just have been in a lot of situations that I would not want other people to be in. I think that I've been in abusive situations. I've been in situations where I feel neglected. I feel sort of very, very untethered to anything. I think I've just been in a lot of situations where I wouldn't want anyone to be in those situations, and that's all. Is that kind? Maybe. Ember says, I've been there too. It isn't just being homeless. It's a feeling people actively don't want you around, that nobody cares and there's no way out. Yeah, calling a nightmare is an understatement. Yeah, and a lot of homeless people do go through that. You know, they sort of get chased away from places, and, you know, the police move them on because they're just unsightly to look at. I really have an issue with that. It's like, you know, their lives are going badly enough. Do you really have to chase them away because you don't like where they're being homeless? You know, like it's so bad. I really feel like we've got to get a bit more compassionate, but focus on building people up to a place where they can help themselves. You know, what's that phrase? You pull yourself up by the bootstraps. What a stupid phrase. The whole point about pull yourself up by the bootstraps is it can't be done. Like it's one of those things. It's like the Munchausen thing where he pulls himself out of the mud by his own hair. You know, it's impossible. You can't do that. So yeah, Jason, I'm sorry to hear that, mate. Your assistants got cut. That's rough. And I dislike what this current American administration is doing. Aren't you Canadian? Yeah, that does make it worse. Ember, when I was homeless, I chose to be because I wanted to keep this cooking job and stay in Appleton. I don't know where that is, but hey, cooking's great. I can understand that. Jason says, still the brother-in-law seems to be taking advantage of the situation. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Like, we never know the other side of this, and that's part of the problem. Like, is he depressed? Is he having, you know, is there a problem why he can't find a job and things? I mean, there was certainly some places in my life where I was difficult to find a job and difficult to you know, get going because of depression, because of my ADHD that I didn't even know I had. You know, like it's horrible. Definitely a shit situation. So, you know, whether someone's taking advantage, is it because they're having other problems? Does he know all of the problems the brother-in-law is going through? I'm not sure that he does. I'm not sure anybody does. The fact that he's out riding his motorcycle around says, hey, if you just rode for, you know, Uber or not Uber, what's the delivery company? Like, you call them out for food kind of thing. I've had a mental blank. I don't use food delivery services. I really don't. Uber Eats. Let's just say Uber Eats. Okay, like if you were riding your motorcycle around for that, that'd be great. You know, that's something you can do, and you know, you're making money and you're riding your motorcycle. It kills two birds with one stone. Go to it. They certainly, you know, would like drivers and stuff. You've got a mobile, so you've got access to maps. You know, that might be something they can suggest. Jason says, I don't think they're in the wrong, but I don't think there's anything awesome about the situation. No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, if you don't think they're in the wrong, just say the poster is terrible. Everyone terrible takes the lead. Yeah. Yep. That is a true statement. Reddit commenters are usually very, very harsh. Like they rarely look at any sort of variables in it and just go, oh, I don't like it. But I'd give him a week or two unless he was a total animal, says Beck. Well, Beck, I mean, he could be. We don't know. I mean, we don't know. I don't, you know, I don't know. And there's P-Beck's thing. So if you want to help out P-Beck, it was a E something, E transfer, I think. I can't remember what you said. The defense of abortion argument comes to mind. If you woke up and someone was connected to you because they had kidney failure, are you obliged to stay connected to them? No. But here's where, so really you're talking about autonomy, Jason. So are you required to provide support for somebody if they're connected to you? Now, there's a few ways to look at this and a few different things that people get out of it. But let's look at this. If you agree to, say, for you know, you make the agreement to connect to somebody because of kidney failure, and they get off a say, you know, a let's just say a dialysis machine, right? Like, this is just all hypothetical, Jason. I don't know this example exists in the real world, but just say they come off dialysis because you say, hey, I'm going to allow you to use my kidney, and you're connected to them. Are you allowed to then say, well, no, I've changed my mind halfway through, and they die as a result? So really, we're talking about the responsibility of somebody's life, like whether you, if you say you're going to be responsible for it, are you then required to commit to that? And I think the answer would possibly be yes, that even though it's nice to have autonomy. So this is generally what is happening in abortion cases. We're basically giving the woman enough time to decide if she wants to take on the responsibility of the child. So it's a matter of responsibility. And if you sort of say, hey, you can come live with us, I don't think it's responsible to be able to say, hey, you're out straight away. I just don't think that's a responsible thing to do. However, if he said a few months, I get why you would be, you know, you'd want to say, hey, this is not cool that you're doing this anymore. It's been a few months and you've got to leave. And what I really want to emphasize here is just the real, when you have agreements like this, when somebody is moving in, and I've learnt this the hard way, okay? I've learnt this the hard way. When you are moving in, even if they're your best friend, have some sort of agreement in place, right, with responsibility. So how much they're contributing, how much chores they're doing, you know, what's the time that they can live for. It, not having an agreement is just a recipe for disaster, because then you're sort of just seeing how far it goes. And it's always a nightmare, especially if it's your best friend and you're living together. So many friendships have been broken by living together, because living with someone is not the same as being their friend and staying over a lot, say, you know, like you crash at their place. You know, I really would encourage you, if you're you know, setting something like this up, what they should have done, and this is all, you know, of course nobody thinks of this when their brother's in trouble, but what they should have done is said, hey, you need a few months, you have 3 months, here is the date at the end, you have to pay this much for to cover rent, this amount to cover groceries. You know, we're gonna see the groceries, we'll get a receipt, post it, you know, to you. You know, just be organized about this, or else this kind of stuff will happen. Because as much as we go, oh no, someone can live with me and I won't resent it at all, if people start to resent it, they don't think they will, but they do. They absolutely do. So unless you make that agreement, someone's going to resent it. Set a date, be stern. Shouldn't let someone you. Absolutely. 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 You have a spoiled sister? Uh-oh. You have, and Human Girl has too many siblings to take any in. Too many humans. I've said it all the time. All the time. I don't have any straps to my boots. Yeah. I think they're laces. DoorDash. Yep. That's the one I was thinking of. Thanks, Jason. Where was the consent? Yeah, it's an interesting question. Where was the consent? So I think you're talking about the kidney example kind of thing. So I think that, you know, so I think that with consent, it really has to be like you consent to a certain thing, or you consent to a time frame, or you consent something like sex, where you can basically withdraw consent at any time. That's totally fine. I think with something like providing blood or providing some sort of necessary thing, you would have to agree that you can withdraw with consent at any time. This is the thing we've got to discuss before we get into it. You know, like, when do you withdraw your consent? And I get that, Human Girl. It's really important for that consent. I think that with pregnancy question, if you decide to keep the child, it's not really okay to then withdraw your consent. You're basically saying, hey, I am keeping this child for the amount of time it takes to birth it. You can then withdraw consent to be a mother. You can put up your child for adoption. We understand this. But I think that in a certain way, we have to say, well, if you're going to accept responsibility for this child after a certain amount of time, then you've got a responsibility to carry it to term under what conditions it comes under. So I think that's sort of the way we interpret it. I really think someone should be able to withdraw consent a bit later, but that's the way they do it. Because how do you wake up with someone with your kidney? Yeah, no consent there. Absolutely not. It's a weird example, though, to be honest with you. Who brought that one up? The kidney thing? I can't remember who brought it up. Oh, Jason. Yeah, no, Jason. Like, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I mean that example. I get the example. How often does that happen, though? Like, really? Like, how often does that happen? It's sort of this weird sort of, these sort of analogies for things that never ever happen. I'm not sure how good that, because you get that in defense of the pro-life use them all the time. They're like, well, if a woman was on an island and there was nobody around and nobody to take care of the child, and she was pregnant and then she had and it's just like, dude, really? Like, this analogy is so far-fetched. Like, seriously, I'm not really into far-fetched hypotheticals, although, entertain them, but whatever. How'd the poll turn out, by the way? Everyone's terrible? Oh, 50% everyone was terrible. Everyone is awesome at 10%. There's always one lurking, like, with the wildest stuff. Oh, good. Yeah, I get you. I think it would be the difference between sort of, in your example, between sort of letting someone find a dialysis machine and organizing that, or just tossing them and hope they survive kind of thing, just completely withdrawing all care and hope they survive. I think an argument could be made that sort of, not allowing them to find any alternative is not the right thing to do, because you have sort of given. I mean, if you just wake up and they're there, then totally understandable. Like, you can just withdraw your consent instantly. But I think that if you've sort of taken responsibility and consent to keep them alive, then you should at least let them find an alternative. I think it does come down to, as Human Girl says, consent, like whether you consented to it or not. I think if you didn't consent, no, screw them. Like, seriously, that's not something you should hold off on. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to upvote that. Why not? I really do feel like, just my intuition, I feel like it's the dog dying that's making him lash out in anger. I'm not 100% sure that would have happened if the dog didn't die. But he does have a point. Does have a real point. Okay, working form. Am I the arsehole for avoiding my mum after she told me to suck it up when I broke my fingers? No, not at all. What? Why would you? What? Suck it up? That's weird. That's actually weird. My intuition says no. I mean, I don't know how I'd feel if I broke my fingers and my mother said, suck it up. I think I'd be upset as well, I believe. I think. I definitely would be. Feels like a bit of toxic masculinity here. I was at the gym where a heavy weight fell onto 3 of my fingers on my left hand. Yeah, no, that can suck. Like, those weights. Oof. Have you ever like been putting weights on and your fingers get pinched in the weights? That actually hurts a lot. Like, you'd be surprised. Fell onto 3 of the fingers on the left hand. I was in such severe pain that I thought I was going to pass out. Yeah, I mean, I've never been in such pain that I thought I can pass out. I must admit, like when I had tooth pain's the worst. I have sobbed like a kid when tooth pain, like I had an abscess in my teeth. And man, I've never felt anything like it. It was insane. Painkillers didn't do anything to it. Like it was basically I had to sort of reduce swelling kind of thing. Oh, insane. I called my mum as I am in college, far away from home. I told her that I thought I broke my fingers and I want to go to urgent care. Well, just go to urgent care if you're at college. Just frigging go to emergency. Is emergency expensive? Like, do you guys have to pay? Like, look, here's how it works, right? In Australia, I don't know how it works for you, but in Australia, you break your fingers, you go to emergency, they splint you up and, you know, do x-rays, and then you walk out, right? And you go home. That's it. That's all. Like, you don't get a bill. You don't get charged. If you have to call an ambulance, you may get a bill for the ambulance ride. But if you just go to emergency, like just go yourself, get someone to drive you to emergency, go in with a broken hand, you just get medical treatment and then leave. And you never see a bill. It's just, that's how our emergency works. It's an emergency, you know. But I don't think it works like that in the US, and it's insane to me. It's insane. Like, I get paying for a doctor for a consult or something, but if you break your leg, the last thing you want to be thinking about is whether you can afford it or not. There is nothing sweet about your system. You get out of here, human girl. Like the idea that you hurt yourself and like, wow, it's just insane. Insane. My mum has never been empathetic for physical injuries and mental health issues. Yeah, that's a problem. When she heard me, she told me to suck it up and rest. I figured I would wait for a while. Who knows? She could be right. Okay. I feel like I should mention my fingers did not look deformed. No, sometimes, like if you get a hairline fracture, it's not going to look deformed. It's not, you know. So other than the bruising and swelling, I was unsure if they were broken or not. I would probably err on the side of caution. Like, really? It could be a fracture easily. While waiting, my roommate came home and saw the state that I was in. She took one look at my hand and assured me we had to go to urgent care. Yeah. If it's bruised and swollen and it hurts, like to the point, if it hurts to the point where you think you're going to pass out, it's most likely broken. Okay, that amount of pain, it's most likely, you don't get that amount of pain from just, you know, bruising and swelling and things like that. That's almost certainly broken. And this whole thing about men not getting medical care, what is up with that? Like, seriously, I don't understand it. It's like, oh, well, you just got to be a man and suffer through it. No, you don't. Like, seriously, come on now. I didn't want to betray my mum because she always said never to go to the ER or urgent care due to our terrible insurance. Yeah, this is it. However, I went and researched the cost of an out-of-pocket x-ray at the nearest urgent care, and it was only $200, which I was willing to pay. Oh, that's insane. That's insane. Oof. I told my mum this, and she said, you better hope your fingers are broken or else I'm not helping you pay for anything. Wow. Really? Oh, that's so awful. Like, you're sitting there going, can I afford to get my fingers, which are almost certainly broken, treated? So I was under a weird circumstance where I hoped my fingers were broken for the sake of saying I told you so to my mum. Oh, this is just screwed up. Like, seriously. I finally went to urgent care and got an x-ray. They confirmed both my pointer and middle fingers were broken and may need surgery if not healed properly. When I called my mum back later that day and told her the news, she basically laughed and told me I should be glad that they were broken. Why? Why? Why are you glad that they were broken? So you didn't waste money on an X-ray? That is the most callous thing, like seriously. Oh, I'm glad you didn't waste money and find out that you've screwed up your entire hand. 3 weeks have gone by and I have not spoken to her since. She's texted me and asked for updates on my fingers, but I feel conflicted on why she's suddenly acting like she cares when she clearly didn't in the first place. She's also not someone you can easily share your feelings with, so I'm not sure how to go about our next conversation. Should I just ignore it or try to bring it up with her? I think you should bring it up with her and say, hey, that hurt. That sucks. I don't know. If it was my mother, I would probably bring that up and sort of say that. But what if she laughs at you? I get that. Oh, that's rough. Edit. I was not expecting not the arsehole. I spoke to my brother about it, told me I was overreacting, and she probably just wants to check up on me and probably feels bad for diminishing my issues. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. So I absolutely think he's not the arsehole here. Like to be told that and then laugh at you. The poster and morally bankrupt for ghosting mum. So yeah, I don't think it's the arsehole. So stuff like this. So obviously he's hurt. Now, I don't mean physically. He's sort of emotionally hurt that his mother, the person that's sort of supposed to care for him and a parent, is laughing at his pain and everything like that. Well, I don't know how old he is, Human Girl. He said he was in college, so I don't know if that's usual or not. Is it usual to be in college and on your parents' insurance? Is that usual or is that not usual? I don't know. Private insurance. Usually, I think it's about 20 something when you can go, like, you can get off your parents' Medicare and insurance in Australia at a certain age. What age can you stay on parents' private cover? Yeah, in Australia, you can stay on your private health insurance until you're 31. But you have to not be married or in a de facto relationship. And you must be turning 31. Yeah, so as long as you're not married or on a in a de facto relationship, you can stay until you're 31 in Australia. In US, what is it in US? 26. So until they reach 26, they can remain on their coverage. Apparently that was changed under the Affordable Care Act. Thanks, Obama. And I mean that. Thanks, Obama. No, you're right. It is 26. It's 26. Affordable Care Act, 26. So yeah, it is quite possible that he was on his parents' thing. What's it? Yeah. Yeah, but ours is 31. Like ours, you can stay on there for ages, which is, I don't have a problem with. If you're married, then yeah, maybe you should be thinking about your own. I get that. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's look at what the Redditors say, I guess. Interesting. Not the arsehole. Do you know how your birth giver is? Don't go for her to medical advice or tell her anything, because otherwise you'll allow her to dictate your health. No, I don't know about that one. Usually you get overprotective mothers who are like, you stub your toe and they're like, oh, you should go to the emergency and say, maybe this is an Australian thing. you know, but like the only reason you wouldn't tell your mother is because she'll be too, you know, you should go and get an x-ray just in case kind of thing. Like stub your toe and she'd be like, oh, go get an x-ray just in case. And it's like, no, I don't. It's just a stub of the toe. It's fine. Look, I mean, I remember, you know, telling my mum, if you got hurt on something, like do you think it's broken? It's like, look, mum, if it was broken, I would know it's broke. Like breaks and fractures, it's very rare that they don't have incredible pain associated with them. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying it's pretty rare, especially on the fingers, the index and middle finger. It'd be incredibly rare. I mean, it might be good, but yeah. Ask yourself, why do you think you would betray your mum when getting required medical help? Yeah, that's a weird question. You even called her to get an okay from her getting x-rays you wanted to pay for yourself. Yeah, I think this poster, and they've got a point, it's time to cut the umbilical cord is what I would say. Like it's time to say, hey, mum, I'm going to be doing my own thing. And if I decide that I want an x-ray, I will go and get an x-ray. I think there's a certain point where you go, well, you don't have to have your mum's okay to go to the emergency room. Like it's time, like he's in college, he should be cutting that umbilical cord seriously. Is your insurance even this bad, or is another tool from her to control your health now that you're out of reach physically? I don't know about that one, champ. I think that parents are just happy to provide insurance. I think you might be onto something. Edit. I realize this could most definitely be the truth. I have prescription pills I take every night. My mum insists on sending me a package with them inside every month, but it'd be easier just to change the pharmacy location. Yeah, no shit. Just to go closer to pick them up. Yeah, pick them up. Why would you? What? That is weird. That is weird, right? If you've moved to college and you have prescription pills, you're getting your mum to pick them up and send them to you. Okay, that's a little weird. Okay. Yeah, why wouldn't you just go to the local pharmacy and pick them up is completely beyond me. I don't know how your prescription system works. Generally, a prescription can be used anywhere in Australia. You get a prescription here, you can go to any chemist. You might ask them to keep it on file if that's your local one, so you don't need to bring it back. And I do a lot of that, you know, my local pharmacy. But if I get a prescription, I could go to any pharmacy in the land and get the prescription filled. It's not a problem. I don't know why you would have to nominate a pharmacy to get it from. That seems insane. Oh, hey, Robin. How you doing? How you doing? Bill Burr is the rich, Andrew. Bill Burr is the rich. I suggested we better change the pharmacy, but she said I wasn't able to because none of the pharmacies around me take my insurance. What the hell? I know this to be false because my roommate, who has my same insurance, picks up her medication at the nearest grocery store. What the hell? Nobody has the same. That's wild. That's wild. That's wild. Oh yeah, no, don't be snowed in, Robin. Don't be snowed in. Get warm. Keep warm. Ugh, snow. I'd like to see snow at some point. But anyway, that's weird. Do you have to find a pharmacy that covers your insurance in order to get your medication? That's wild. Australia, you just get a script. You go to the pharmacy, any pharmacy, and you hand them the script, and they fill it. That is all. I don't understand your system in the slightest. This is nuts. Oh, yeah, he does. I get you. This system that you've got seems insane. Like insane. Is this what they're talking about with single payer system, that you don't have to find somebody? Yeah, wild. Oops, I keep clicking that. Nope. You're absolutely right. OP shouldn't have to seek approval for necessary. Oh, yeah, that's the original one. Okay, gotcha. Not the asshole, but your mum is. Are you adopted? Why is she so mean? Yep. Why is she so mean? Not helpful. My first thought was send a photo of your middle finger next time she asked for an update on your fingers. Yeah. Okay, that's not really helpful at all, but sure. Not adopted. I believe she grew up conditioned to suck it up through tough times, and unfortunately, she pushes that idea onto her children. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what sort of era she grew up in. Boomers have this a lot. They're kind of just, oh, suck it up and not think. But they're the biggest complainers I've ever seen. Not all of them, but sort of a large percentage of them. That's where you get the Karens coming from. The people who will not, that they can't sort of accept any kind of answer, but yes, it's absolutely incredible. Any kind of disappointment. God, this brings me back. That's from Juwulfi. I was in school and had an accident at the jungle gym. I was in a lot of pain, so the school office called my dad. He told me over the phone it wasn't that bad and I should go back to class. 8 hours later, I'm at home. My mum walks in. Her what the fuck face is looking at my fucked up arm is burned into my mind. We immediately went to urgent care and I got a cast out on my very broken arm. Apparently, I'd fractured it and kept fracturing it more and more over the course of the day because I'm neurodivergent and can't properly feel my body. Interestingly enough, that is a thing. That is a thing. So some neurodivergent people, we're talking about autism here, ASD or autism spectrum disorder, don't have a lot of feeling as far as touch is concerned. I experienced that myself. I have been hurt and not felt it in the slightest. Like once I came walking up from the ocean along the beach, and Lynn was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why? What's up?" And I apparently was just bleeding down my arm, and I didn't even feel it. I don't have a lot of those sort of, I don't feel pain a lot. If I'm focused on something else, I don't. So when I do, I try to listen because I it's not like I'm in danger or anything. It's just, yeah, sometimes I hurt myself and I just don't even notice, which is a bit weird. So long story short, I don't talk to my father anymore because that was just the beginning of his cruelty. You are not overreacting. I'm sure the line you'll realize about how abusive your egg donor is. Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, you don't really like the word mother here. So I kind of agree. If they're going to sort of minimize your suffering, it's not cool. It's not cool. And there's sort of a interesting thing about what pain is and how much we feel pain. It's part of that thing that is sort of qualia. So it's the idea that your perceptions are entirely your own. You can't make them up, or you can't share with others what your qualia is, what your sensations are. I think that sort of when you are doing those pain ratings in hospital, though, it's probably best to be err on the side of caution. Just say, hey, it's slightly higher than it is, because it's better to have more and get the pain taken away than have less and still be in discomfort and pain while they're trying to heal you or do something to you. So yeah, I kind of get it. We can never explain what we're feeling to others, and all of our studies on pain are more just from people saying it rather than any kind of objective standard to do it. So I guess that what I'm getting at is that don't let anybody tell you how bad your pain is, or how like your perceptions are your perceptions, your senses are your senses. No one should be able to say, hey, it doesn't hurt that bad, because that's not up for them to decide. That's not a thing, right? You just be honest about what you feel, because when you're asked by the hospital on a scale of 1 to 10, they love their scale of 1 to 10, how bad is the pain? Nobody can answer that but you. Why would you give somebody else's opinion that isn't feeling it? Yours is going to be the most accurate. So I kind of highly encourage people to do that. Not the arsehole. I broke my arm as a kid and my mum waited 2 days to take me to a hospital. I'm Australian. We didn't have to pay or anything. Yeah, see, I wasn't lying. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. We don't have to pay or anything. It was because her brother, his wife, and his kids were visiting, and she didn't want me being dramatic when they're around. Wow, okay. Oh, the drama of being injured. Wow. A very clean and open break that was starting to heal wonky because she didn't even bandage it well. And then because I had a dance performance in a couple of weeks, she made them give me a half cast, not a full one, because that was she could have me wear the costume. Because that, hang on, I got to pass this. Give me a half cast, not a full one, because that was she could have me. So that was because she could have me wear the costumes while my still broken arm was strapped together underneath. Same woman also ignored my kidneys failing when I was 16. Ugh. And it took me passing out in the bath after vomiting blood from a torn throat and my younger sister finding me thinking I'd died before my dad was finally allowed to bring me to hospital. This person's a monster. Holy crap. She thought I was just being dramatic about exams. It was holidays. I didn't miss any school until I was in hospital for almost 3 weeks when no one, not even my family, was allowed to visit because you're sick, not a holiday. Damn. I spent my 16th birthday in hospital alone. I'll forever love the nurse who snuck me in a cupcake and candles after my mum left for the night. Oh, what a champ. Look, nurses, underrated, undervalued, underpaid, and I will die on that hill. Nurses deserve way more than they get. And I'll fight you if you disagree. I haven't spoken to her since my grandmother's father's funeral, where she yet again got mad that her ex-husband, my dad, was a pallbearer, while she didn't even come over from the country she now lives in. She was so angry when he was a pallbearer for my grandma's funeral the year before too. She wasn't physically there either. Well, okay. My kid's currently off school because he got sunburnt on Monday. Yeah. It like the Australian sun. All right. So Australia, it's not just that it's hot. The sun beats on you. I've just lost the post. I've done it. I've just lost the post. You hate to see it. I mean, you hate to see it. There we go. Like the sun beats on you. Like it's not so much the heat. The heat you can deal with, right? The heat's bad, yeah, but it's okay. It's the UV light. The UV index is like when you watch the weather, they will have like temperature, pressure, rainfall, and UV index. It's something they'll tell you because the UV light will act like you can actually feel it beating on you. It is rough. It's brutal. But, no worries. What are you going to do? We had I always remember the slip, slop, slap campaigns. Like there were ads like playing all the time for kids to like put on sunscreen, slip on a shirt and slap on a hat. Like all of these things. Because, yeah. Across the world. Yeah, UV index across the world. So that's the UV index graph. That's 2004. Man. Yeah. I mean, look at that ozone hole though. Holy crap. Look at that. That's the hole in the ozone layer in 2004. Insane. You guys have it easy. You low UV people. Low UV people. It stings and he feels sick. It'll be Wednesday tomorrow, and if he's not feeling great, he won't be at school again because kids deserve to feel safe and loved when they get hurt, regardless of what hurt is. Okay, so let's talk about something that a lot of people don't think about. Heat stroke is a killer. Now, heat stroke is dehydration caused by not only the heat, but also the sun drying up your skin. Your body sweats in the heat to try and attempt to cool your body down, and therefore it loses more moisture, which is lost to evaporation because the sun's beating on you. I have seen somebody go drop down and dropped dead from heat stroke on the beach. I mean, I even knew her name. She was a friend of mine, and she had been drinking the night before, so she was dehydrated. Now, she was in Surf Lifesavers, as was I, so she probably should have known better. But, you know, 1920, you're invincible kind of thing. She stopped breathing and her heart stopped beating just from the heat, right? Just from heat stroke. Luckily, if you're going to drop down dead, surrounded by CPR trained lifeguards is probably the place to do it. You know, emergency room of a hospital is probably another good place. If you decide to do that, it's a good place to do it. You know, where they have a defib and everything like that. That's the, you know, defibrillator, the machine they use to start hearts. And she was fine. She was totally fine. Like out for, you know, somebody did CPR instantly because, you know, lifeguards were trained in it. Yeah, but like wild, you know, like just wild. Just the heat alone. Hydrate everybody. Kids deserve to be safe and loved when they get hurt, regardless of what that hurt is. I'm going to upvote that one. I absolutely agree. You know, if your parents aren't going to comfort and take care of you when you're hurt, then what are you doing? Like, seriously, who is? I don't understand that. Gently, it's time to stop calling your mum, hoping this time she'll be a loving, kind mum. You could have made your fingers so much worse by delaying going to the hospital. This is why healthcare should be free, not the arsehole. Yeah. That person's probably from Australia as well. I can tell the mum rather than mom. I don't know why is that a difference? Like, why is it a difference that we do MUM and you guys do MOM? I don't get it. You know, like, I really don't. It's weird. You're too old to be such a good little soldier. Yeah, cut the umbilical, my friend. Cut it. Use your common sense and take care of yourself next time. Ignore the uncaring. Oh, come on, man. Like, seriously. Come on. Let's see. Human God says, you big baby. Yeah, and just human, there is this idea that because you're a man, you're supposed to suck it up. And it is the most toxic masculinity. Men die way earlier than women do on average because of this idea that if they're hurt or they're feeling sick or there's these things, they shouldn't go and get, you know, they should just tough through it. It probably also is more less risk aversion by men, but it's definitely one of the reasons why the male lifespan is shorter than the female. And I think a lot of it could easily be cured by simple change of culture, just saying, hey, if you're a guy, you don't have to be invincible. You don't have to, you know, suck up pain, and you don't have to, you know, ignore your wounds because you are so tough. It's totally fine to go and get medical treatment. Jason says, suck it up. You're dead to me. Yeah. Mums are so harsh sometimes. Yes, I will agree. My mum was kind of, I don't think she was harsh. I don't know. I don't think she was harsh. She just, she was, I don't know, severe kind of thing, like very, very severe in her thinking, black and white in her thinking sometimes, I guess. I you know, I wouldn't call her so harsh though. Jason says, against my religion to go to the gym. All right. Well, I mean, that's a weird religion, but sure. You knock yourself out. Do you get tax break for that one? I would like to know. People want to know. Ember says, it reminds me of my ex. Had an accident, broke 2 ribs. Man up was the prevailing sentiment. Yeah, no. Broken ribs are rough. That's horrible. Like, broken ribs, you can't even splint them or anything. You just got to, I mean, the reason why sort of you got to tough out broken ribs is because you can't really support them with anything. You can't really You can't put them in a cast. You can't splint them. You can't really do anything with them. But that doesn't mean that you can't go get them examined to make sure they're not out of place, move them back into the right place, and then get, some kind of pain management stuff. Like, there's stuff you can do. Yeah, it is. I'm not sure what that's in relation to, but sure. Why bother telling her if you know she doesn't care? Because I think it's that then I don't think they know. Sometimes, like, look, human girl, sometimes you're right. They literally don't care. Sometimes people say stuff not realizing how much it hurts you. Like, some people do stuff because they're never told how much it hurts others. I mean, in my life, I've been very blunt with people not being autistic and not realizing that it hurts others. I care. I have empathy. I care if it hurts, but I didn't know that I hurt somebody. So it is something that sometimes we've got to be told. And I will tease you all day long because it's horrible. Mark, you wouldn't believe how much the medical business takes advantage. I probably would, Jason. I probably would believe it. I've seen a few things on it. I do get startled, though. I do believe it. I just... It's so horrific. It's horrific. Ember says emergency care is thousands of dollars unless by some miracle insurance covers it, which they won't because you didn't get it pre-approved. Yeah, and that's sort of wild. And pre-existing is wild as well. It's sort of like if you happen to be born with something beyond your control, then you can suck rocks kind of thing. Is just so wild to me. It's like, but it's not like, why will they cover somebody that chooses to, I don't know, skydive or something, or do gymnastics and hurt themselves, but somebody that just happened to be born with a condition, they'll say no? It's wild, right? Like, one person is choosing a lifestyle, or choosing a lifestyle that can cause that, but the other person, they had no control over it. So let's punish the person that had no control. Like, it's weird. It's weird. The popsicle stick that gives you a splint costs $100. Jesus. Are you serious? I don't think you're serious. Yeah, splints. What's a TMJ splint? Oh, that's a dental splint. That's a bit different. Okay, I don't know. I don't think you're being serious. Amber, so unfair. Yeah, and that's what we want to change, Jason. The whole idea that we want to, have some sort of system. Affordable Care Act was a good start, but it's just a start, right? Like, universal healthcare is something that everybody needs. This breaks my heart. Like, not literally, but yeah, it's awful. I'm so unhappy about this. I'm so unhappy about this. This sucks. You're physically abused. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, no, I know, Andrew. That sucks. Damn good immune system, so you can handle it. But what if you don't? What about immunocompromised people? I don't know. It's weird. You got yours at 16? Yeah, I mean, sure. I'm glad you're out on your own, but I don't hold it against anybody in the US for being on their parents' insurance if that's cheaper for them. I don't hold it against anybody in Australia either if they want to be on their parents' insurance. I mean, emergency doesn't cost anything, but if people getting the best out of their health, even if that means staying on their parent, I don't have a problem with it at all. Your mum thinks that vaccines made you woke. Are you serious? Oh dear. Oh dear. You almost had national health care, but that would hurt the insurance companies, the Republicans. But it's so wild to me that the reason why they're not providing medical aid to their constituents and citizens is because an industry wouldn't be making money. That is a wild statement. That's wild. That's wild. That is absolutely wild. I am flabbergasted by that. You know, you know, that would be like saying, hey, we're not going to fund the police because, you know, security guards would make less money. What, or alarm companies? What the hell are you talking about? Okay, that's just upsetting, quite frankly. That's basically saying, hey, money is more valuable than people are. That is what that is saying. The industry of insurance and them making money is more important than the health of our citizens. That is completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. Holy crap. Is that the one? Oh, the Bill Burr thing? Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard it, but I will look it up. If America could charge people for air, they would. Yeah, I see a Spaceballs reference coming up, to be honest with you. You're parked on the highway. Oh, you're gridlock. You're in traffic jam. Hearts for Ember in the traffic jam. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. That sucks. Yeah, I kind of you know what? When I started driving, I like when I was driving to work, I really missed catching the train. I actually liked catching the train. And I used to live a lot. I used to work in the city. And there's only one city, okay? Don't ask which city. There's only one city in my entire state, so don't ask, okay? I basically would catch the train in, and I lived a long way away, and I got to read, like, you know, on the journey, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. And then when I like started driving, because I was a lot closer, I was kind of annoyed that I didn't get to read. I actually prefer taking the train, to be honest with you. I really do. At this point, I think that if I am going to work, I prefer training it just because I get to read and relax. I think there's added stress when you have to, like, you know, drive through traffic jams to get to work. I'd rather take more time and relax than have to, you know, battle the traffic and then get to work and be even more stressed out, kind of thing. I don't know. That's just me, though. A lot of people have this like this sort of cultural. Oh, if I catch the train, I'm a poor person, and that's not. I don't get it. Like, seriously, you know, Keanu Reeves catches the subway and stuff. Just be like Keanu. Give your seat up for old ladies. I mean, what a guy. Nobody thinks he's a povo person, but he likes. I think he said he likes the people. He likes being, you know, being around the people and people being with you and feeling that you're, you know, like, because I didn't work for a while in between jobs, and I must admit that when I got onto the train in my new job, there was this sense of let's all go do something productive, kind of thing. This sense of, you know, we're all going off to assist in some way. It was a really good feeling, and I do like that feeling. I know what he's talking about. You have sort of a feeling of sameness with the people around you when you're on that train in rush hour. Everybody's waiting, but you know, you have to get there. I actually like it. It's good. It's good. And you get to read, you know, and just relax. It's fantastic. Although having said that, I'm a walker, I guess. I do walk a lot, so I can walk long distances. Sometimes that's okay. So yeah. I'm waiting for the news that hand washings in hospital to be banned as work. Yeah, anarchic. That whole thing about the CDC had all of these things pulled because they thought it was, they were talking about men and women and male and female, so they thought it was woke stuff, so they took it down because pronouns. And it's like, are you out of your mind? Apparently, doctors have been discussing whether they even are allowed in sort of government institutions like the CDC, whether they're allowed to discuss men and women or use she and her or any of this stuff. It's wild that doctors are going, can we even discuss gender at all or sex at all? Like, are we allowed to discuss that, or is that off the table? Because they don't know. They don't want to get fired for simply saying, hey, that woman needs a hysterectomy. And it's like, well, no, you've mentioned it. You've mentioned woman and she. It's so wild. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when they did that whole legislation. I can't remember which state it was. I think it was Texas, I think, from memory. But they made that legislation about how from conception, the egg is a living person. And so all of the IVF shut down because they can no longer risk being, charged for murder. It's these things that they don't think about. They don't actually put thinking into it. They just do it. And then there's all this fallout. And how much have we seen this year of just this fallout? Being injured can be very dramatic. Yeah, it can be traumatic even, Rembrandt. Like, there can be significant trauma involved. That's where you do get, some phobias from. Phobia of needles or a phobia of the sea, thiassophobia. I can't remember the needle one. Is that acoutrophobia? Is it acoutrophobia? What is the fear of needles? I mean, I hate needles. I think maybe I do have an irrational fear of needles. I really do. Trypanophobia. Yeah, his stories are wild. Look, Rembrandt, I don't know if his stories are real or just the worm in his head ate part of his brain and it's malfunction. I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird. Yep, that is true, Rembrandt. That is true. Yes. Yes. Hey, Yudef. Good to see you. You're like a camel. Nice. Andrew hung like a camel. It's out there now. Yeah, Hunter Biden is insane compared to Africa. Yeah, but we know why Hunter isn't all there. It's to do with some substance that he definitely was very enthusiastic about. But he, at least he doesn't have a worm that ate his brain, being rocked to death within that noggin of his. Men died earlier because we have to listen to women all the time. Hey, Rembrandt, no, that is not true. That is not true. No, you see the reasons why men die earlier than women, and it is really so. There's a number of factors. Risk averse, for instance, risk aversiveness. It's basically how much you avoid risky situations. And guys, generally, the culture is they will just take risks. Like, they'll climb things. They will, I remember one picture that was like people watching TV in a pool and they had like the extension cord on a pair of flip-flops. And it's like, you guys are going to die. Like, seriously. It's so wild. So wild. Men do a lot of that stuff. Really, really, really dumb stuff. Really dumb stuff. X-rays were $4.50 a piece, and because I waited in an empty waiting room till 12:05. What? Wow. Yeah, we over here charge for beds, Jason. If you're not in a bed, then you don't get charged. because, well, you don't get charged anyway, even if you are in a bed. But if, you have to pay private for some sort of room, if you don't have a bed, you don't have a charge, essentially, which I think is fair. Why a waiting room? I mean, it's not like they have any outlay for anything. Are you sure they weren't charging you for the air, mate? That sounds like they were charging you for the air in that waiting room. Over $3,000 for a broken finger? Oh, that's wild. That's wild. $100 splint. Damn. It shouldn't be like that. Oh, Deviant. Hello, Deviant Outcast. So good to see you. What the post describes from their childhood and the mum neglecting to take them to the doctor's ER on multiple severe occasions is just that, neglect. And it's child abuse. In Sweden, she'd been in jail and they would be in foster care or cared for by a suitable relative who does provide the care that they are in need of. Yeah. Luigi. Wow, Luke, the way to start a massive conversation with just one word, mate. How to start a huge conversation with just one word. Luigi. Yeah, no, I get you. I always don't condone political violence. It's not, you don't condone political violence because then it condones all of it, and that's a problem. That's a massive problem. But it does occur to me that would we be even talking about this if Luigi hadn't done what he'd done? I think so, but that's a hard one. That is a real hard one, because obviously taking a life is wrong. But that was inevitable. And it's going to get worse. If this continues on the way that it does, if the US government keeps prioritizing the profits of insurance companies over the health of their citizens, it's going to get worse. This is just the start, because people will not stand for it. There's a limit to what people can put up with, right? So I've talked about this a lot of times. I'm not sure if I've ever done it on AIMBOT, but we have something called the social contract, right? Basically, the social contract, it's an implicit contract, implicit being sort of assumed to be there. It's sort of something you don't explicitly outright agree to, but you kind of implicitly agree to it. Sort of, it's suggested you agree to it by just living in the society. And this contract basically says that the government can tell us what to do. They can make laws, they can order us around. They have basically, for all intents and purposes, they have power. They have all the power. They have power over violence, etc. But the social contract says that people will allow this, but they have certain rights that even the government isn't allowed to violate, and that the government is there to serve the people. So you're basically saying, hey, you're allowed to be in power. You're allowed to do anything you want, but there are these certain rights that are inviolable. And the right to a healthy life, or the right for the government to work for you, is one of the ones being violated. A lot of people will say, hey, let's take away this or take away that right. And what they don't understand, and what these people never understand, is that if you take away these rights, you are breaking the social contract. And that social contract is the only thing stopping people from ignoring the law, ignoring their governments, just ignoring everything. It is the only thing that can stop people from doing what they want. Because people that are suffering, they're starving, they're not getting what they need from the government, they won't follow what you tell them to do. And you can't just turn an army on them. Like, this is the breakdown of civilization. You can't just take away people's rights, because at the end of the day, your government is only there. The only reason it is there is because the people allow it. If there comes a time when you break that social contract, you're done. You're done. And you might go, well, we've got an army. Do you? Are they going to attack their own people? No, They're not. That's their brothers and sisters and husbands and all of these people. How are you going to keep the economy going? How are you going to feed this army that you've got if people will not work? The Indian Empire found out real quick, the British Raj in India, it's really the British Empire, found out real quick that without the support of the people, you are done. You're done. There's nothing you can do. So I really, something's got to give. I don't know. Something's got to give. The new trains are cool. Where are you, human girl? The train rocks. Have you seen the new trains? What new trains? Where are you? 300k Land Rovers parked at the trainos. I don't know where you are. Public buses are nice too. Yeah. Our buses are good. It even look, the thing that I appreciate our buses, like they've got USB chargers in the bus. I don't know why. I've never used one. I just like that it's there, right? That if I'm running out of charge on my phone, I can recharge it on the bus. I don't know why. I just like that. It's just like, yeah, you didn't have to add that, but you did, and I appreciate it. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, driver's licenses are overrated. And that's the thing, like these 15-minute cities that they're talking about, like designing a city so you can get anywhere in 15 minutes. It's a brilliant idea. And every right winger just goes, oh, no, you want to take our cars? And it's like, dude, have you ever been to Amsterdam? It's wild. Cars just don't exist over there. Everybody rides a bike. It's incredible. Set up in Appleton, Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Yes, you are all women in America. That is correct. Now that you have the sex that you have when you are fertilized as an egg, because that is always female, because the gametes haven't developed yet, everybody is female at conception, basically. Sorry. Because they don't realize that, like, when you're gestating as an embryo, it's female. Like the default is female, right? You have to have an injection of testosterone in order to change it into a male. So, and then that changes the gametes. So they don't realize that you were a woman too. It's, yeah. Prefer to talk to women. Most guys' combos are dumb and sexist. You know what? I do enjoy talking with women as well as men. I do. I don't think I have a preference for one or the other though. I think you know, I mean, I can happily talk gaming with my like gaming bros, but I can happily, you know, talk gaming with girl gamers as well, or just other people. I can happily talk movies. I love talking to my wife. I think she's really intelligent and has some amazing ideas. So yeah. But I don't think I've got a preference for either. I do like hanging out with women sometimes. I really do. It's you know, I get what you mean. What I really hate is the toxic men that are like, you know, just trying to make themselves feel good by denigrating others and doing all of that crap. Like, it's just awful. But I do hate toxic women as well, who, you know, they seem to think insulting people will make you attracted to them or something like that. You know, like it's just awful. I mean, I was once asked out by a girl on a date, and well, it wasn't more her. It was more her and her friend sort of said, "Hey, you should go out with me." Her friend said, "Go out with her," and she's like, "Yeah, come out." And I'm like, oh, "Okay." And she just insulted me the entire time, like just how men were stupid and all of this stuff. And it's just like, why? Like, seriously, you know. I think there is such a thing as toxic femininity as well. I really do believe there is. I think it's less prevalent culturally. I think that toxic masculinity is way more out there. It's way more prevalent, but I do think it exists. I really do. Girl power. Well, woman power. Hey, big bad mama. They're my favorite mama. Yep. Yeah, I think that, you know, there's been some sort of people talking about how men in the women's room kind of thing. It's such a non-issue, right? If you're talking about the number of times somebody has been dressed as a woman doing something in the ladies' room, like somebody that's cis male, dressing up and like compared to like how many priests have done something awful to children, it's not even a blip. Like, yeah, okay, we have to stop that from happening, sure, but way more cis men have gone into a ladies' room and done something to them than any amount of trans. Like, it's such ridiculous thing. Poster is awesome, confirmed. I agree. And I really hope he sort of cuts his umbilical cord with his mum and says, hey, I don't need your permission to go and get healthcare. Might be worth it. All right, well, I'm going to do one more because I did skip. Like, I would wrap it up, but I did skip last week, so I feel like doing another one. Oh, hey, Aunt Jer, good to see you. Really good to see you. Really good. And I don't know how they're going to enforce this thing. Like, are they going to, if they see a woman go into a women's room, what's the criteria for going? Is that, was that person born with XY chromosomes? Like if it's just somebody that, if they have a bit of facial hair, is that going to do it? Because I've seen some, grandmas with facial. Is it going to be, what are they going to do to check? It's very weird. I don't understand it. Right? Because then they're saying, hey, we should stop this thing, but they're not telling us how they're going to stop it. Right? Like, how are you going to stop this from happening? If they pass, I don't know. It's wild. It's wild. I don't understand. It's sort of like, they're like saying build the wall, and then you're like, well, what's going to pay? How are we going to do this? And it's like, I don't know, just build the wall. That's not a plan. It's barely a concept. Like, seriously. I mean, I know he did say Mexico would pay for it, but he didn't explain how Mexico was going, like how he's going to get them to pay for it. I have no idea. It's wild. It's so wild. Oh, you're moving in with Soot. Oh, awesome. The 3:45 moves arrive at 8 a.m. We're not even close to finish. Soot's resting on the bed. He's been working, helping me pack like the hero he is. Okay, well, yeah, go for it. Taking a quick break. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay, that's exciting. Look, you can sleep when you moved in. Like when you move in, just sleep away. I know it's hard to sleep in a new place, though. I get that a lot. I can't sleep in new places, like places that are unfamiliar to me. Not sure about that one. But if you're tired enough, you random person 1993. Okay. We've got a random person here. Am I the arsehole for reading during my lunch break, then getting a bit snarky with a colleague? Maybe a bit snarky part. I mean, it depends what they did. I would say not necessarily. This one's a sort of thing. I don't think reading during your lunch break. I've taken plenty of lunch break where I've read through them. Sure. Although it does occur to me that if you do, it sucks, but if you do want to move up on the ladder, you probably should be talking to people rather than reading. Unfortunately, that's just the way corporate stuff works. You have to have contacts and stuff, which I'm not good at. I'll make that clear right now. But that is sort of a requirement. A bit snarky. Yeah, don't be snarky with your colleagues. Well, why? Did they interrupt you from reading? Is that why you were snarky? I want to know why you were snarky. So maybe, yeah, it depends on what level of snarkiness and what they did to deserve it, I guess. I mean, if they like, hassled you, then yeah, maybe you're completely fine. Oh, how'd the poll turn out, by the way? Did I do the poll, or did I forget again? Oh yeah, no, I did the poll. That's fine. Okay. Am I the asshole for reading during my lunch break, then getting a bit snarky with a colleague? Definitely maybe. At the school where I work, as well as the main library, we have a mini library in each classroom. Okay. During my lunch breaks, I like to sit in my classroom and read a book from my classroom's mini library for about 10 to 15 minutes as it helps me relax ahead of the afternoon. Nothing wrong with that. Today, one of my colleagues, not a superior, saw me doing this and accused me of stealing. What? As the books are for students, not us staff? What? She said that if I do it again, she'll report me. I'm sorry. Like, you're in a classroom, you take a book and you read it, and you're stealing from the students. Excuse me, lady, are you high? What? I would just say, report me then. See if I care. What? I don't understand this. I don't understand. If you're in a library, like, is it like because it's the students' library? I gather that she's not joking either. I don't remove books from the classroom. I put it back after my short reading time. I don't try to discourage kids from borrowing books, even if it's the one I'm currently reading. I can continue it when the kid brings it back. Yeah, not to mention that you're being sort of a role model for the kids and reading. Like, I wish teachers would read more and sort of go, oh, this is a really good book to the kids. You know, like, that might be helpful. Lady, are you high? What's wrong with you? The students aren't allowed in that part of building over lunch. They don't even know I do this, so would have no reason to feel discouraged from borrowing books. Several colleagues, including members of SLT, what the fuck is SLT? Student, what is SLT? I don't think it's Sri Lanka Telecom somehow. Selective laser, trabeculoplasty. No, I don't think so. Senior leadership team? Senior leadership team is a school leaders of different levels that involve themselves in the daily management and running of the school. Okay, so it's like school council kind of thing, I'm gathering. School council kind of stuff. Have come into my classroom to ask me something while I've been reading, and no one has had a problem with it before. I explained all of this to my colleague, but she said there's no excuse for stealing from... He's not stealing. What? Why? I reminded her that staff can borrow and even take home books from the main library, so why wouldn't I be allowed to read books from the mini library, and asked if there was a rule against it. Plus, you can read the books in a library even if you don't have a library card, right? Like, you can go into a public library, take the books, sit down, read them, and you don't even have to have a library card to borrow them. You can just read them. That's what they're there for. The books are there to be read. They don't care who reads them. Wow. She said you shouldn't have to be told that stealing is wrong. It's not stealing. And asked whether if she'd caught me swiping a school laptop, I'd expect her to turn a blind eye. What? But that's like if you check your email from your school computer, are you stealing the computer? I laughed at this. I couldn't help it and asked if she was seriously comparing me reading a book with stealing a laptop. She said stealing is stealing. You know, this is really reminding me of the stuff we get from fundamentalists, you know, fundamentalist Christians. They're sort of, once they've got hold of something, they will not let it go. Like, they just cannot let this go. It's so weird. I told her to report me if she wants. Yeah, that's probably what I'd say. Well, you better go tell somebody because, whatever. I told her to report me if she wants, and it'd give everyone a good laugh. Yeah, probably. She got angry and told me that stealing is no joke, that my attitude is disgusting, and reiterated that she finds out I've done this again, she'll report me. No, report me now. If you think I have stolen something, report me now. Because if someone's stealing, I would like them reported. So if you think that, then report me now. Like, embarrass yourself by doing it. Feel free to disagree, but I still don't think reading one of the school books over my lunch break is stealing, but I feel a bit bad for being rude to my colleague. No, absolutely not. I don't, that isn't snarky to me. I don't know what this lady's problem is. I don't know, but to me, that is not, like, if anything, he wasn't snarky enough. He wasn't. Someone's accused you of committing a crime. That is really serious. Like, you can't just go around accusing people of committing crime. Well, apparently you can, but you shouldn't. I don't think that was bad at all. If someone accused me of committing a crime, I would say go and report it. Was the poster wrong for being, let's put in quotations, because look, I hate to bring it up, but in Australia, that doesn't even qualify as snarky. That does not even qualify as snarky, to be honest with you. That doesn't even qualify. Snarky in Australia would be like, oh, well, you better go get the cops then. Come on. Where are your handcuffs? Do you have identification? I want to see your ID, officer. Name and badge number. That doesn't even qualify as being snarky in Australia. I just saw that. Jason, you're a bad person. You're a bad person. Not the answer. Your colleagues sound deranged. Yeah, get on the front foot and tell your superior what is going on before your colleague does. That's a good idea. I'm going to upvote just for that idea. Yeah, no doubt she will embellish the story to make what you're doing say worse than it actually is. In addition to the personal benefit you are getting from reading, you also mentioned that it helps you discuss the material for your students. Oh, that is brilliant. If you're familiar with the books yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's fantastic. I like that. Yeah, absolutely. Non-sit. You're a sovereign citizen? That would be terrible. Yeah. Like, it's always helpful to have a refresher. I mean, we learn all this stuff in school, right? Even teachers. But the problem is, and Lynn's mum is a maths professor that teaches how to teach maths, right? So she is a teacher of teachers. She is a doctor in mathematics. The thing is that even though we've gone through all of this stuff, we kind of forget it when we go through and do our tertiary education. Like, we kind of forget this stuff. So teachers, if they can read and brush up on things, fantastic. I don't see a problem with it. So I've mentioned before, if you have a policy that does not serve the interests of what you're doing, it shouldn't be a policy, right? So if the only reason, like, for instance, if you had a policy saying, teachers are not to read the books in their classroom, which is a weird rule, right? A weird rule. If just say you had that policy, if the reason is because the books are worn out too easily, or I don't know, you've had a spate of teachers stealing books for some reason, who knows why, then I can understand why you would have it. But if your answer to why is that policy there because it's policy, that's not a reason. And we working in the corporate field, we see this all the time. You have these policies that have no reason for them. Like, they may have had a reason at some point, but there's no reason left for those policies to be there. It's time to drop them, because if they're not serving the interests of anything, if they're just policy, they shouldn't be there. And so you drop them instantly if you can't find a reason for it. You can always re-implement the policy if it turns out you missed something, but 99% of the time, the policy's just there because someone decided on a policy and everyone's saying, well, that's the policy. Shouldn't be there. Drop it. You know, all it does, like these policies that cause inconvenience for the customer and staff at the same time, and people going, oh, would you just do this? And they go, oh, we can't do that. It's policy that we don't. That's not a reason. It just means that you're used to doing it in a certain way. There has to be a reason behind the policy. But too many of this stuff, you just have policies for the sake of having policies. Not the asshole. Implicitly, by calling it a mini library, the school allows people to borrow books. You're borrowing a book as intended for 15 minutes. You weren't stealing, so be proactive with your version of events before your coworker tells everyone you are stealing. Yeah, I kind of agree. I fear for our future if idiots like this are teaching our youth. I wouldn't let this fool teach my dog. Lord, please help us. Yeah, I don't think the Lord's going to help you. I think the Lord may be part of the problem there, mate. Just saying. She does realize that after someone reads words in a book, they don't disappear, that they'll still be there when someone else comes along to read them. Who knows? Who knows? Considering the books that Florida's trying to take out of the library and stuff, who knows? They aren't a Mission Impossible note that would self-destruct. Yeah, that would be snarky. Telling her that would be snarky. That would count as snark. What the guy didn't do, that doesn't even count as snark. You're reading during your lunch break, so you're not even stealing time from your employer when you should be doing other work. She's a wackadoodle. Yeah, basically. Not the asshole, but I think about reporting her comments to your boss to give them a heads up just to get ahead of any complaint she makes. Yeah, basically, yeah. I think that is the thing. Head it off at the pass, say, hey, I just had a weird conversation. Just letting you know I read on my lunch break. Not sure why it should be an issue. I'm happy to discuss it kind of thing. Oh, dear Lord. Own lack. Oh, dear Lord, not the arsehole. This is one of the most ridiculous definitions of stealing I've ever heard. Yeah. I kind of agree. That's a weird definition of stealing. I would have called your superior right there and then had it come a settled matter. No, don't put the superior out because someone's being, just petty. Make the petty person do the work. Tell her to go see the superior, and then get on with your life. Just ignore her. Please let this idiot report you. Yeah. Wow. I don't know what's up with this. And we're getting this behavior. I hate to bring it up, but the Karens, and I think Kevin's are the male version, aren't they? Like just people making trouble just for trouble's sake. They just want drama. They have to have drama. I am so exhausted by it. I don't see the point of drama. I really don't. It's completely ridiculous. I don't see the point. I really don't. But let's get some comments from you. Deviant, then stealing the book knowledge from the book. This is not a tome of wisdom that has a single use. Does a tome of wisdom have a single use? I don't know. It's been a while since I played D&D, so I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. They're books. They're meant to be read. It's their purpose. Their goal in life. Their purpose. Does the colleague not know how libraries work? Apparently not. Some people seem to be, and I'll sort of point to a sort of anti-intellectualism where some people are threatened by other people simply reading books and educating themselves. It's like sort of, I always remember a Bill Hicks stand-up that he sort of says he was in this diner and he's reading a book and the waitress says, what you're reading for? Not what are you reading, but what are you reading for? And I always found that hilarious because that's the attitude some people have. Like, why are you reading? And it's like, why would I not be reading? Like, if I enjoy it, what? It's kind of this anti-intellectualism that is really wild, just hate people that read, hate those readers, those reads. Yeah, Anarchic Fox, in this day and age, they may not, aren't you? It's entirely possible that they don't know how library or books work. Yeah, fair point, Fox. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they have no idea, no idea how a library works. Look, if you don't know how a library works, that's cool. The staff are more than happy to tell you how it works and point out different sections. You don't even need to know the Dewey Decimal System. The staff there will help you. That's how much they want you to read. They will literally help you find something to read. Library staff are amazing. They're awesome. I like library staff. They're I'm anxious to hear what the post-minute. I don't think it was defined. I think that's probably, if he's a very polite person, I think that counts as snarky. That doesn't even count as a little pensive in my world. That's definitely not snarky. Please report that. I'd love to see the response to that. Yeah, same here. To stop the international book thieving ring going on in your school. Arrest that teacher. Jason said that didn't even register as rude to me. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Big Mum says not the arsehole. The colleague sounds like a fundy. She should go to the boss and tell them that happened. That way it doesn't matter if she reports it. You know what? Sometimes, like when you have those kind of reports, you can imagine the boss just going, yeah, Karen, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. And just not doing a damn thing because it's ridiculous. Different understanding of snark? Yeah, absolutely. Chase, I love that. Is an arsehole. Yeah. That's not even a Canadian level of snark. Yeah, and Canadian snark is very lightweight. And it doesn't even reach that. It doesn't even. Mind you, Canadians, I've noticed, can be incredibly sarcastic without actually showing they're being sarcastic. They're sneaky, those Canadians. You've got to keep an eye on them. They can be sarcastic without letting you know. And then they're laughing at you without you knowing they're laughing at you. Those Canadians are sneaky. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. Is her colleague Lauren Bobert? Does the colleague think OP is was probably a threat? I'd ignore her. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about this. If they're after drama, you've really got to make it so that drama isn't being generated. So sort of going, well, if you want to report me, and then go back to your book and just ignoring her, it doesn't get her that emotional engagement that she wants. So she probably won't bother with you again. It's a really good way not get involved at all. There's a technique that I read about used for people having to deal with narcissists called the gray stone. And basically it's being completely neutral and not giving any emotion to them, not feeding into it, not getting angry because that feeds into it, not getting frustrated, but just a pure blank gray stone that gives nothing in the way of emotion. And they don't like it. They don't like engaging with that because they want that emotional reaction from you. It's a fascinating technique. There's a bit of debate on whether it is good or not because the narcissist may do more things to try to get it. That may encourage them to be more extra, basically. But I think the technique can be good for people that you think are trying to create drama. Just, not engage emotionally at all because they'll come back to you trying to do it again. Lauren Bobert, didn't she get given a portfolio, what we call a portfolio, like a secretary of something? Wasn't she given something? What's her position now? Or am I thinking of somebody else? Wasn't you made an ambassador or some crap? It's freaking terrible. Or am I thinking of Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's probably even worse, to be honest with you? Marjorie Taylor Greene is terrible, like just terrible. Sometimes referred to her initials as MTG. No, that is Magic the Gathering and always will be. You get out of here. Get out of here, Marjorie. You're not taking those initials. Get out of here. They're both terrible. They're both terrible. Ugh. Ugh. Fox says, I have an absurd amount of policies in my work. The vast majority have a purpose. Oh, yeah, for sure. The vast majority have some reason that they're there. The ones that do not have a reason other than bureaucracy, I push to remove them, also known as being... Yeah, no, I probably was as well. That's fair. There's a limited supply of knowledge per book. Our eyeballs suck up all the knowledge and there's nothing else for anyone else. You're right, aren't you? I knew it must be everybody else reading things. That's the reason why I can't learn anything else. That's the reason. I read that I'm also known for being an alligator. You know what? That would be cool. That would be cool. Saying she needs a nap is snarky. Maybe. Depends on your level that you have snarkiness at. America has anti-intellectualism on lockdown. Yeah. And it makes me worried because we're coming up to a point where science and technology is going to be who is going to be sort of in the lead in the world. And, you know, the fact that China and other places are ramping up their education and America's kind of getting rid of it, it's a worry. It's definitely a worry. Reading clubs are just crimes. And yeah, that 50 Shades of Mob. Yeah, 50 Shades of Mob Gang. Yes. Yeah. I joined a book club. Oh, you criminal. Think of the children. Think of the children. We are born in the sarcasm, molded by it. Yeah, I Canadians, they can sarcasm it up. I got you. That is tomato sauce. Actually, technically, they're different, apparently, Jason. I found that out. Technically, I think ketchup is more viscous and tomato sauce is runnier. So there is a slight difference between them. Sarcasm, second language. I'm part British. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Those Canadians sound kind of Danish. How dare you? How dare you, David? Yeah, shots fired. Absolutely. Absolutely. She did misspell and page. Really? Wow. Wow. Is that? I hope that's not Marjorie Taylor Greene. I hope it's Magic the Gathering, because Wizards of the Coast is way better than her. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, I get you, Berius. I really do. I get you. I think it's just important to talk about it, support each other. You know, you always have the right to protest. I would be out protesting. The reason why European countries haven't gone the same way is because people physically get out and on the street. In France, when they try to do something, there will be people wall to wall in the streets. I think that there's been a tendency to stop showing up physically when we can online protest or online sign petitions and things like that. And I think that it doesn't really have the impact as, you know, real people actually in the street reminding the government of what happens, that social contract that I was talking about before. What happens if you break that contract, right? Like, we had protests for all kinds of things, some of them successful, admittedly, some of them not. But when you can wall to wall, you know, have millions of people in the streets, then the government kind of usually backs down, usually. Jobs to replace trucking. Consider a medical profession like surgery. Well, don't be a teacher, because apparently you can't read books. Apparently that's crime, and you'll be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Well, actually, how'd the poll go? How's your poll, mate? How's your poster? Is awesome. Yeah, no, I agree. That one wasn't even close, and it wasn't even snarky. I feel let down. I wanted a better snark. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but I wanted more snark and in greater snarkiness. And I didn't get it. It was not snarky at all. But thank you so much. It's been wonderful to see you all. I'm going to try and do a casual stream maybe this week, so keep your eyes open. If you have any suggestions like board games or online games, we got Cards Against Humanity. Someone said board games, but any other games, and that'll be a members only stream. So you can definitely be a member of the channel. I'm not stopping you. I'm not forcing you either. So that's entirely your decision. But I do want to do some things to members because they really do keep the channel alive and keep the channel happy and keep ban emojis flooding the chat, which just makes me happy. Like when there's a Bigfoot Jesus in chat, I'm happy. So they really keep the streams and the things alive. So thank you so much, everybody. And don't forget, be kind to yourself, be kind to each others. You're not going to be able to change anything by yourself. We have to talk, we have to get together, we have to support one another. And part of that includes just giving your opinions and being out there with them. It's a rough time, and I get that. I get that for everybody, and I'm so sorry to hear that. Don't be afraid to go if you're feeling completely lost. Call a helpline. Call somebody that you can talk to. Just even talking about this stuff can help, and you're not burdening people. One of the things we always think is, oh, if I tell people my problems, I'm going to burden them. And if you've ever been somebody that somebody's shared their problems with, it's not a burden. It is, I don't feel like when people say, hey, I'm having a hard time, this has happened, that I'm being burdened at all. That doesn't burden me. So don't feel that way. If you'd be happy to hear somebody else that's having problems, other people will be happy to hear yours, and they might not be able to do anything about it, but that's not really why we talk about it. It's to express that emotion that you're feeling in a healthy and productive way, rather than letting it build up and spill out. So that's why we express it. If you can express it through art, fantastic. Like that's great. If you can express it in other ways, that's fantastic. I can't. I'm autistic and non-artistic. I'm terrible at it, so I express it through talking about it. So that's how I deal. And these coping mechanisms that we have, how we cope with stress, how we deal with these things, how we deal with something happening to us that is traumatic, or it's something that happens to us that just is bad luck and isn't going our way. How we deal with that and cope with it is important. So some ways are healthy. We can talk to others about it. We can share with others. We can express ourselves. We can scream at the air if we want, like just expressing your feelings. But there's other unhealthy ways, and that's sort of relying on some kind of substance, or being angry at people when it all bursts out, or going into a classroom and hassling somebody for reading a book, for instance. That kind of thing, right? Unhealthy ways to deal with the stress and the problems that you're experiencing. So, but do be kind to others, do be kind to yourself, and all the best. I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.